You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa, what up, me gente? It's your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. Yo, today, I'm excited. We keep it on the theme of comics, independent creation, entrepreneurs. I mean, my man here is heavy. He got these dope books. He's an amazing illustrator, but he also is a publisher. Poor Man's Press. Let me introduce to you the one, the only, the multi-talented Oscar Romero. Wepa, what up, kiddo? How you doing?
Hey, Al, I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, my brother. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for sending over that material, because right before, I was pre-gaming and checking out your titles, and let me even say kudos, yo. As a Lovecraft fan, I was like hooked like a fish, bro. You got me. I was definitely there flopping around. Like, whoa, I love this. So great job.
Yeah, man.
On you, bro.
Thank you.
So let's get into it, bro. Comic Crusaders podcast. First thing I always need to know is the origin story of anyone creative here. So let us know, like, where you're OG from, where you at now, and a little bit about your upbringing and the pop culture influence.
Yeah, well, I was originally born in El Salvador, and I was raised in California for most of my life. So that's why I don't have a Spanish accent. But then. Yeah, I was raised in Sacramento, California, which I'm currently at right now. And then I got into comics at a young age, just like everybody else. Kind of self-discovery.
Who got you into it? And what's self-discovery? Okay, so when you say self-discovery, did somebody take you, or were you just, you were with mommy and papi somewhere, or you're someone and you just saw a book on a rack? You're like, what's that?
I don't even remember the first time I saw a comic. No? I just remember enjoying them. It might have been somebody at school who had one. And because I grew up with a single mom. I'm an only child from a single mom, so I had limited means. My mom didn't have a whole lot of money to take me a lot of places. So anything I either got from television, it's pop culture wise, anyways, from television or friends from school. But I guess just like everybody else, got at a young age, started reading superhero comics, and even at school we were playing those Marvel role-playing games with the little cards and the figures and all that. But that's how I got into reading comics.
Excellent, man. And did you find a tribe easily, when you were growing up?
Yeah, I did. Around the 6th grade, I remember that's when I had my little group of friends who would play games and read comics. I was, even though I did find a common interest with people, I was pretty much a lot of times like a loner, I was happy with friends, and I was happy, hanging up on myself.
Yeah, either or, you didn't give a crap, man. You know how to entertain yourself.
Yeah, hey, that's an important thing, man.
But at least I come from that generation of the in between, playing outside, but then technology beginning to take over. So I'm really that in between. I know what it is to play outside, but then I saw the whole onset of shit and started learning only on how to play with this. So don't let these white hairs fool you. So when did you start getting then the creative bug, if you will?
Well, I've always been, like all kids, we draw in school, and some of us stay with it, and a lot of us just kind of, let it go for other interests. So I've been drawing since I would kind of remember as a kid. And in elementary school, copying my favorite comic books. In high school, I was heavy into art. So I was creating all through my years in high school. And then after high school, if your interests change, so many people are here the same thing. They get interested in girls, cars, something else pulls them away from their interest in art. And I was the same way. And then after high school, I just went into.
I don't think it really necessarily. I want to say I don't think it necessarily pulls their interest away. It just pulls their money another way. Like, oh man, is it date night and a possible something, or am I going to buy a comic book? Maybe I'll go. Men we're gamblers, yo.
You know, your priorities change as you go through life, and so yeah, it's like you get pulled. Yeah, your interests get different as you get older, and so I still, no matter what I do, because after high school I kind of floundered around, and then I joined the Navy, and
Oh, you did. Thank
throughout.
you for your service, brother.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure. And art was always there. Art was always present. I would doodle, even though I wasn't doing it professionally for money. I would doodle once in a while, and people would say, "Hey, why don't you do this for, instead of being in here in the Navy, just doing all this stuff." But it's always been with me.
Excellent, excellent. So you are, you're being a creative. When did you take the step now to say, okay, I want to make this now really something? Was there a particular moment in time that happened where you said, I want to do this forever?
Well, after the Navy, I kind of wandered around as a graphic designer, and I was on the West Coast in San Diego, and then from California, I went to the East Coast. So I lived in New Jersey for a while, in Hoboken, New Jersey,
Oh,
and then I was
Hoboken, I'm
working.
sorry. Okay, I only playing. I'm only
Man,
playing New Jersey. I love you too.
home of was it home of baseball and Frank Sinatra, I think it was, but
Baseball. Oh,
anyways. Yeah, like there's this one corner in Hoboken, and each corner has like a base. One corner has a home base, the other ones have first, second, and third, and all that. But I
okay.
guess they got close ties to baseball. But anyways, yeah, I went to New York, and I worked in southern Lower Manhattan. And I was a stockbroker there for a little bit, and I do miss the
Oh,
East
bro,
Coast
what
once in a while.
era? Wait a minute,
Oh
what
man,
era, bro? Because I was messing out there doing the stock stuff back in the early '90s.
I
Well, mid
was
'90s and above, right before the 2000. But if you ever saw the movie Boiler Room, that was my
yeah.
life.
Yeah, I
You
did
too?
that. Yeah. So I
Oh,
was I
crazy,
was
right?
there not in the same time, but around 2009, 2010,
Okay,
around that.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But
Gotcha.
uh, but then after that, I joined the Coast Guard in 2010. Did about four and
Oh
a half
wow! So
years
you
there.
keep on a career. Wait a minute. So you do Navy, you get out, live a little, and then what made you want to go back to serve the country? At least on that aspect now.
I needed a job. I needed to support my
He
family.
said I need to pay the bills, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's a great experience, a different experience from the Navy. I really appreciate the Coast Guard. So I did 4.5 years there, and then after that, I said, you know what, I want to pursue art more seriously. I want to take that more seriously. And so 2014, I got out,
Hmm.
and then we came back to California and just messed around. Started to do more painting. Hooked up with my classical realism teacher in Oakland. So we were living in the Bay Area, and I studied art in Oakland. And then after a while,
Oh
we
wow.
went to live in France for about a year and a half, just to
West
just to
by
explore. Yeah,
France. Oh,
yeah.
but
So that was
explore.
pretty
You
cool.
went to one of the most beautiful, places that are
Yeah,
rich that have a rich art history. So I'm pretty sure you were eating that up. Your brain must have been like a sponge.
yeah. It was pretty nice. And it was an eye opener too, because we get caught up in this bubble living in America, because America's big, man, and we
Yeah.
get in this bubble. We don't know really what's going outside of it. We're just so caught up in ourselves. But to go out of that bubble, it's an eye opener. But you
In
know,
a
long,
positive fashion?
yeah, yeah, in a very positive
Okay.
fashion.
Okay. I want to make sure.
But
Don't scare me, bro. I want to go to France too.
no,
Hey, who's this
yeah.
Latino here? What's he doing here? Hey,
Hey, man, I
Arizona,
stood
come over
out.
here.
I stood out for sure. I stood out for sure. But anyways, long story short, we came back to the States after that, and then COVID hit, and I didn't have a lot of time to paint, because the
Oh
kids
wow.
were home. I was homeschooling them, and they were getting into the paints and everything. So I tried playing with pen and ink, because it's easier to set up and break down, and I can work quickly. And then I started watching a lot of videos, because all I had was time during the shutdowns. and then I started watching videos on comics. A big channel is Cartoonist Kayfabe was a big influence on me
Oh
because they
yeah,
did.
I interviewed Ed. I love
Yeah,
Ed. Yo,
yeah.
he's a boss. Yo.
I mean, anybody can match their enthusiasm for the pop culture. It's definitely because you guys got that passion.
Yeah.
But after that, so I was like, well, this is great. They're taking deep dives into Wizard magazine and then into the comic artists, and not just their artwork, but what fueled their artwork. What drove the artists themselves. So after that, I was like, well, yeah, yes, sir.
It's the OG number one. My number one that
Oh
I bought
man,
at the shop.
yeah, man. That's a big part of my childhood is Wizard magazine.
Yeah, you and me
But
both, kiddo. I mean, not my
but
childhood, my teenage years. That was a mangan song. You know what I mean?
yeah. I'm the same way too. Same age, around the same time. But yeah, after that, I was like, why don't I make my own? And then I never considered myself a writer. So the day I decided to make my own comic, I remembered a story I had read, and it was an anthology. It was in an anthology, a horror anthology, and it stuck out. It's that one story that stuck out to me, and it's called The Love Dead, and that became the first issue I published. But that's kind of how I came about my interest in making comics.
You mean this one right here?
That's the one.
Look at that cover. Say, so speak to me on this, because you sent a couple of them to look at this, folks. 'Cause I am a fan of this type of look. I mean, as much as I love color, you give me like this black and white or these type of uses the gray blacks and all you the masterful work here. I mean, look at this, and obviously it's like you were really capturing the story. And so explain the process here of how you took that story and then developed it in your mind and artistically.
Yeah. So since I didn't, I didn't have an original story to tell, I wanted to adapt this short story because it really struck a chord with me. I really connected with it. It stayed with me even years after I read it. I had to go back and find the book. I was like, I got to do this story. So I did the first page here, and then I thought to myself, well, I better find out who owns the copyright before I get in trouble and start, getting lawsuits.
Oh, so you started this even without asking first? You're like, wait, only after
Yeah.
you were so excited. You say, wait a minute, oops.
Yeah, because I already had it set in my mind that I'm going to do this. I have this story.
Okay.
I have these images in my head, like the way I wanted to do it. I'm going to do it. And so I did this first page here. And so I researched the copyright holder, and it's the grandson of the author, right? He owns the copyright.
Ooh, so it stayed in the family. Dope.
Yeah. And so the grandson had opened up a publishing house called Phantom Publishing, and for the sole purpose of continuing to publish his grandfather's work, keeping his grandfather's works in publication.
The legacy alive, yeah.
Yeah, and I really thought that was a noble idea to do that, So I contacted him. I sent him an email with this picture, and I told him what I was looking to do, and he was very enthusiastic. He's like, yes, let's go for it.
He's like, where you been all my life?
Yeah, he was said, I'd love to see my grandfather's work in another medium, and so I said, well, can I adapt about 4 or 5 of these stories, short stories? And so he was good with that too. So we hammered out an agreement, and I went to work on the first issue here.
Amazing, yeah. And so tell me what mental space did you get into when you were creating the art behind these words? Because now again, this is an old story, and you're doing it on a different medium. So what type of mindset did you have to get yourself into? And how did these images pop into your head?
A lot of it was on the second reading, because the first time I read it was just for discovery and enjoyment, and then the second time I read it, it was with the intention of kind of capturing the images, the impressions I got in my head from reading the book. And so I would read the passage, I photocopied it, I would read the passages, and then I would mark instinctively where I thought, oh, this is page 1, this is going to be page 2. This is going to be page 3, and so on. And then I read it again. I went over it again, cutting down, the dialogue, kind of editing. Okay. If I had too many pages, if it was like 32, maybe I want to make it shorter so I can see where I can cut down without losing the essence of the story.
Without compromising it, yeah. Gotcha.
Right. So that's how I pretty much worked. I highlighted the things that were going to be in each story, in each page. But this story, and I wouldn't recommend anybody's to do this on their first comic book, because this story is.
I love this. Don't do this. Jeez, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Why? You're scaring me, bro. What happened?
Well, because this story is basically it's a taboo topic. It was a taboo topic back then in the 1920s, and it still is kind of a taboo topic.
Yeah. This is a sick read. Yeah. This is really kind of because I was like, all right, homie enfermo. I mean, when you folks, The Loved Dead, I really want you to think, because they're telling you right there the title. Whoa.
Yeah, and that's a great title, by the way. First of all, that really catches your attention. But
you said it was supposed to be The Beloved, right? And they changed it.
Did I? I don't remember if it was
something like that. I think it was Beloved or something like that, but it wasn't definitely this. It was something else.
But
before they named it The Loved Dead.
Yeah. But anyway, so anyways, the topic is necrophilia. So for anybody who's not familiar, just go ahead and look it up. I'm not going to go over it with you here. But
naughty things, people, very naughty. All right, that's what it is.
Yeah. So here I am. I'm a completely unknown creator, especially in the the comics industry. So I'm out here at conventions trying to sell people on this new comic from an unknown creator on necrophilia. That has to do with necrophilia.
Damn.
How do you sell that? How do you
are coming in hot from the beginning, like, holy shit, guy, what?
Yeah. But I tell people that, and then I also follow it up with this was written in the 1920s, all right? So it has 1920s sensibilities, and a lot of this, what I like about the story is that C.M. Eddy Jr. is kind of like a pulp author. He's known for being a pulp author, right? So it's not up to the level of horror or gore that we have today, Yeah. So this is 1920 sensibilities. Keep that in mind, where it's less, it's more tame, and the story has to do more with like what's going on internally with the character, as opposed to what he does outside of it,
And which is good, because at times that's what you need. You need to understand the motives of the character. Who is the character? This really delves into who the character is, and then your artistic approach, to his gruesomeness, if you will. Not gory, but like still creepy enough. You're like, wow, bro. Yeah. What is something wrong with homie?
Yeah, you could definitely tell something's wrong. And then but during the making of it, I listen to some music, and sometimes I listen to nothing, just silence. It's good to have silence. And there's this podcast by Mick Garris. He was the director of Critters, and he did The Last Stand, the TV series. He directed The Last Stand.
Yes.
And that podcast is post-mortem, and it's like he interviews writers, directors in the horror genre. And I really found out that a lot of directors and people in film have a connection to comics. Yeah. And one of the directors, I think it was the director who directed the sequel to The Shining, Flanagan, I think his name was. He said, they say really cool things because look, horror is about love. It's about compassion. It's about that's what horror was to him. So I'm getting all these influences as I'm hearing these directors talk and these filmmakers talk. And then at the end of the story, at the end of the day, for this story, to me, it was about how could have someone's life been different if somebody got involved, in a positive way at an early age, because without giving away anything on the story of The Loved Dead is that, a child grows up in a small town. He's kind of a pariah. He's looked down because of the sins of his family. So he doesn't find connection with.
As a whole, they were all effed up people. I was like, what the
Yeah,
hell?
yeah, man. And he's a kid, dude. You can't blame the kids for the people what they did before, before him.
I
So
know. A poor
pretty,
innocent child. I mean, how do you expect them to feel when society's treating them in such a way?
yeah,
So
yeah. And
I see this
he
as a mental health issue too, because it's like, damn, this is the reflection or the consequences of not being shown love. With
yeah,
at the end of the day.
exactly. And he and so therefore he can't get a connection with humans. So he finds a connection with the dead, and so that
Oh
grows
yeah,
out of control. Yeah.
in some crazy way. I mean, this it could easily be a nice, little movie right here. Pretty cool. I've seen so many things, that you could do with this. But or actually, I want to see an animated horror. I think we need to see more animated horror films. I would love to
Yeah,
see your art style in an animated horror film. That would be dope.
that would be pretty cool.
All right,
I wouldn't
it
wouldn't
would.
mind that.
And then you have another baby out because this is the first baby you had out, right?
Right, right.
Right. Then you have Oos, the better choice.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is another mind f. Man, thank you because you be giving me shit that just this one. I'm like, oh, whoa. I was thinking, I was like, damn, this this is on some Twilight Zone, type crazy shit right here. I'm digging it. So explain to me why you chose this to be, the next project you had worked on. Was it the
So
next? It was the second, right?
yeah, well, it's the second one I published, and
Okay.
I don't number the issues, and that's intentionally because you can
They're
pick up
one
any
shoters
one.
anyway. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's a complete
I love
story,
it.
and so but the better choice, I liked it because it had to do with it's more of a suspense than horror, but it has to do with like the afterlife, what we think is in the afterlife. It has to do
Yeah.
with devotion to family is a big deal theme in this. And then also man trying to control nature, science trying to control nature. So those are the big three themes that I came away with it.
And look at this artwork. Jeez, isn't that fire, folks? Talk about this. What headspace did you get into for this one? I mean, for you to design the characters the way that you did and all.
Yeah, and a part of it is my trip to France because when I went to France, you the farther east you go or away you go from like California, you go to the East Coast, you see a
Yeah.
different environment, more history there. It's like, man, this is great. There's more history. Look at this. These buildings have been here for so long, and they've been important events have happened here. Then you go to Europe, and you're like, man, this is even older. There's so
Mm.
much here to explore. So, and that's when I discovered artists like Katie Kulwitz. She's a German
Okay.
expressionist. So I really, she does. She's very famous for her prints and her sketches about like the people who've been oppressed, like the working class, right? So she was a big
Okay.
supporter of the working class, right? And so I try to channel that because her etchings are just out of this world. She's just amazing artist. So and I chose to do this in black and white because I think it goes well with the horror and suspense.
Yes, it does.
Um, and a lot of the stories, they were written in the 20s, but I also wanted to include things that kind of have modern touches too. Because if in this story I started throwing in designs like Frank Lloyd Wright designs, so
Mm.
I wanted to be kind of like you don't know, you can tell it's old, you know,
Yeah,
but you don't know when it is. I wanted to keep it ambiguous a little bit.
I'm digging. I mean, look at this, and you look at your panel work too. So, how did you learn all this, brother? To do the panel work, in building the story, because you're an independent creator, right? So,
Yeah.
and you didn't go to school to learn how to make comics, right? So, what was that learning
No.
curve like?
And that's one of the things I like talking about at conventions is that I'm coming at this from I'm trained as a representational painter, painter who paints realistically, right?
Yeah, on a way
So,
different level than most.
yeah. So coming to sequential art is a big it's a different world. It's got different sets of rules, and I see it as okay. If I'm working on a canvas, I've got one composition. I'm trying to tell one story here. and I come to that canvas every day. Each panel in like, for example, this page takes the same amount of concentration and decision making that one canvas does, because they're all tied together, right? The canvases flow sequentially. So what happens in the one panel is, it's affected by what the two panels before and after, right? Okay. So each panel has to be, it takes a lot of effort to compose and say, make sure you know what's going in it and what. So it's like I'm painting. Each one is a complex composition, basically. It takes a lot of effort, right. And that's what I found out is comics is a lot of effort.
It's a lot of work. Ain't easy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Are you doing this dolo? Do you have a team? I mean, how does this work for you? Because, I mean, I see you the illustrator and all. You're a publisher as well. Mm-hmm. You're working, with Big Homie too. So, is it a team? Is it all you? Like, how much time do you put into any one project right now?
I put in. I have little time as it is, so whenever I can just.
We're daddies, bro, and the stuff that you do, crap, bro. I can't imagine.
I'm just trying to keep my head up above water some days.
I hear you. Don't worry, but hopefully one day they're gonna allow us to make clones of ourselves. And let's see how that goes. Just keep them away from your spouse. That's all.
Yeah, like that one Michael Keaton movie, Multiplicity.
Oh my God, right? But they kept getting dumber, which is what was historical about that one. I dug it.
Yeah. No, but for this project, I mean, this is all me. I'm doing it all alone. I'm adapting, penciling, inking, lettering.
Wow.
And, it's a lot of work. The first one came pretty easy. Thank you. The first one came
crazy work.
Yeah, it is, man. And the first issue, I was able to knock it out in a month and a half because I was just so amped and excited, and everything was right. The second issue, life gets in the way, kids get sick, I get sick, everything kind of slows to a crawl.
Oh my God! That you got sick during the time, if you will.
Well, I mean, just like a cold, nothing serious, But yeah.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah, I get it though. I mean, because in a family home, it gets shared. Who's next? So when you're the last one standing, it's like, all right, guys, get ready because you're gonna take care of me, and I'm gonna be a drama queen if you were too. I don't even.
It takes so long for me to get better too. Like at minimum 2 weeks, I'm sick, I'm down. I don't know.
Oh, you're down hard? Not me, but I tend to work even when I'm sick. I can't stop, and I think that's why my metabolism probably burns out diseases so quickly. As soon as I can't stop, people tell me just lay down. I think in my whole life I've only been really knocked out twice by a cold. Like, okay, I can't get up, I can't function. Oh. That only happened to me twice in my whole life, and I mean it's because and it was always because I went to it was Jersey Great Adventure the first time, and I went to that water park that they have by Great Adventure, and it was when it was new. Man, let me tell you, when I was on the way back home, I don't know what happened here. I was sweating, catching fevers, catching tunnel vision. I could not get up for like a day. I'm like, never again, you nasty water park in Jersey. Never again. It almost killed Mega. Let me tell you. And the other time was in Massachusetts when I lived there. I don't know, bro. I got some type of cold. I was probably the first victim of COVID before COVID because I thought I was going to die.
Wow, man. Massachusetts. That's too bad. I like Massachusetts too.
Yeah, it's great over there. It's nice. I miss the seasons because now I'm in Orlando, Florida. So we have one season, hot. Yeah. And, if it gets to 50 degrees, people are running around in jackets. Oh, it's so cool. Are you nuts? I'm in shorts and chanclas. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you, man. I'm glad to be back in California, but I do miss the seasons. I miss the East Coast, a lot of the East Coast. And, I lived in Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh, you did. Of course he do Salem. I mean, of course Oscar would live in Salem. Look at his books, folks. Of course he's going to choose Salem of all places. I love it. And was that wait, Oscar, talk to me though. Yeah. Talk to me. Was that on purpose? Was it for research? No, it
No,
just happened to
sir.
be.
I
It
had
just happened to
that's my first duty station in the Coast Guard was up in Gloucester,
Mhm.
Massachusetts. So
Okay.
that's why I ended up in Salem. But I love that little town, man. We opened up a little clothing store too, and had a little business there while I was up there.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
wow! Look at you, a non-stop entrepreneur. You're inspiring the shit out of me, Senor Romero. Wepa, I love it. This is great.
yeah, it was fun.
So I need to know, kiddo. I mean, convention season is upon us once again.
Right.
Thank goodness. Are
Yeah.
you going to be making any appearances anywhere
Yeah, as a
this
matter
year?
of fact, I'm leaving in a couple days to San Diego for the San Diego Comic Fest down
Oh,
there.
what's this about? I never heard of
Yeah,
that one. Talk to me. What's that?
I didn't even know about it until a few months
He goes,
ago
me
when I
neither.
yeah, and so apparently it's a nice little intimate convention, and it's started by the people who started the big San Diego Comic Con, right?
Okay. So
The
they're taking it
original.
back to the roots
Yeah,
with this.
exactly. That's a very good
Okay.
summation of it, and they're just like, you know what? Let's get back to when it was really about the artists, getting to
Creators
know
in
the
comics.
artists,
Yeah.
access to the artists.
My brother, I miss those days because, as an early New fan that grew up in New York,
Mhm.
before it was the whole hype of Hollywood. I mean, comic cons were comic
Yeah,
cons. Our creators, our comic book people were the celebrities. You know
yep.
what I mean? So it was a good time. I remember the last one I went to in New York as a kid in the '90s is when Image just started. It was all the
Oh
Image rock
man,
stars on the table, man. My boy cut the line for me, and I'm just walking around. He goes, "Al, come on over here." I'm like, "You weren't there." I'm like, if anyone says anything, I told them I'll smack the shit out of them. So don't you worry. Come in front of me. I'll say, what the? Yeah, I swear to God, I was probably online for 20 minutes. That's it. Before I got to meet everybody. Really
wow,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, But,
I don't
but
know.
that was when it was hype, when it was just comic creators. Now I do big
Yep,
shows and I've done so many. And it's true. It's like you celebrate Hollywood so much, but Hollywood doesn't care about this.
it's
They
a
want to
different world
abuse you
now.
guys. Yeah. They want to
It's a
abuse
different
you guys
world.
and not pay you. That's what they want to do.
I hear a lot of that. In the most recent news I heard about that was the writer artist who created Miss Marvel, I think, right? Because she's been coming up in the
Yeah, a whole
MCU,
new
right?
series and all. Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
went on a whole spiel on social. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah. And
yeah.
so I was like, man, that's a shame. But he even said, look, I knew what I was getting into. I knew that
But
the
while
rules.
there should be something. There should be
Yeah.
something that says,
Yeah.
hey, creator, if this actually ever gets option, if this ever does something, because you helped create this for us, we're gonna give you a
Mhm.
bonus on that day that gets announced. How about that? How about
Yeah.
that? Wouldn't you like to, like, if you did something OG for Marvel, at least that's a guarantee. If this makes it beyond a comic book form, I guarantee you X amount of dollars, on whatever term that we're gonna reach, or at least X percentage on whatever term we reach. How about? Would you be happy with that as a creator
Yeah, I would
to
be
have a,
definitely be
a
happy.
possibility?
Yeah.
So
And
Marvel, DC, do that. That's all you gotta do. Promise people, because then you're gonna get OG creations again.
yep.
Finally, because I hate seeing people wearing mantles of other people. I understand mantles are mantles, but at the same time, it's like, damn, me as a person as like a Latino, I don't want
Mhm.
to wear the mantle of someone that wore it before me that wasn't of mine.
Yeah, and
Yeah, you know
I
what I
mean
mean?
it's a big
I
contention
want
too
something
because
original.
now we're coming out with we're having more inclusion and diversity is a big thing in comics, right? So
And I
folks are
love
coming
it.
up with yeah.
I grew up in the '80s. I didn't see that,
No,
and again,
no,
I didn't think about it either. I
nope.
appreciated the heroes for their morals and their values, not their
Yeah,
color. But
exactly.
to be honest, when I get to see now sometimes people that do look like me in the book, I'm like, oh shit, this is fucking cool. Like I didn't realize. Like, to be honest, when I saw Encanto, I got emotional. I was like, holy shit, a whole cartoon of Latinos.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah,
man, like I felt emotional. When I
yeah,
saw Miles Morales, Spider-Verse, talking in a Puerto Rican accent, I
yeah.
was like, holy shit. Yeah, they got Boricua right for a change. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my
Well,
goodness, what's going on here?
That's a good point, and they did it. In my opinion, they did it right. It was a good. It was a good story. It was a really well put together production.
Yes, it was.
So, but
Gotcha.
I'm in the
So,
same space as you are, because growing up, I didn't. My biggest influences. Look, man, I was big. I was watching Charles Bronson movies, Clint Eastwood.
oh, me
Uh,
too. Me
you
too.
know, I didn't have
Those are my
access to those.
heroes,
Like,
bro. I love Charles
yeah,
Bronson, bro. I mean,
yeah. I
Charles
mean,
Bronson was a dancer, bro. And then you see him in movies like Death Wish and shit. You're like, oh, word?
oh man,
He'll prance all over your ass. Don't you dare.
that guy, he's awesome. But it's like I grew up
Did
with
you
all
see,
these. Yeah.
bro? I want to kill you real quick. There's this movie out. Some guy. He doesn't speak a word of English apparently, but he is the spitting image of Charles Bronson, and they made a new Death Wish style movie with this guy, but
I saw
just
a
because
clip
he
of
looks
that.
like Charles Bronson. Yo, bro, I saw it. I forget the title, but because my brother told me about it. I'm like, stop lying. And when I saw this movie, I was like, yo, is Charles Bronson back from the dead? Stop lying.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
remember seeing a clip of that a while ago. He looks just like him, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that the Clint movies and all. I get you, man. Yeah, we grew up in a different era with some pretty cool stuff that people now will say, oh, it's machismo. Razor Ramon,
Yeah.
rest in peace, bro. Machismo, right?
Yeah, and like that's what I grew up with. I didn't have any like brown actors in front of me, and it wasn't a big
I
deal,
mean,
just
we
like you
had Mil
mentioned.
Mascaras. But to be honest, we had Mil Mascaras in Spanish language, but he was always wearing a mask, so you could never really tell if he was Latino.
Yeah, that's it's got a mask on, yeah. And then my
Yeah, right.
parents or my mom would watch, my family would watch like Sábado Gigante, and then like
Oh, Don Francisco and them. Yeah,
Don
bro.
Francis,
I know.
yeah, yeah, Chisperito,
Salute,
some,
man. The
that stuff.
OG.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Chisperito, El Chavo, salute to them. So, yeah, what was
yeah.
it? Cantinflas. What? Oh, my God. I mentioned this other guy the other day that he used to do a lot of. Uh, One of my first Spanish language comic books was a Spanish language comic book that I shouldn't have been reading. Meant for adults, you know what I mean? It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
on that very adult. Oh man, what's his name? I forgot. I said it the other day, but it was just crazy stuff. It was fun. 'Cause I was exposed to both English and Spanish language when I was
Yeah.
growing up.
Yep.
So I was lucky. Were you? I mean, as
I
somebody
was.
that you said your family's from El Salvador. I know you
Yep.
grew up in Cali, but did you have any exposure to Latin heroes
Not Latin heroes. No, no. Most of
at
my
all?
all my cowboys have always been white. So
I got two gun kid coat. I get you, bro. Bendito. I
but
know
they
we were so underprivileged because we had cowboys. Oh,
Mhm.
geez, yo. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's unfortunate. Hopefully, maybe you could be the man that could bring up their stories.
I know, man. That's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure.
He said, "I mean, hold on, but shut up, Al."
But no, I mean, just like you, it wasn't a big deal to us. If you grew up like I did,
Yeah,
and just watching these characters and everything. The only time that I really did notice was one day I was thinking, oh, I remember when I used to pretend, oh, I want to make a movie and I'm going to cast such this person, this person, this person, and like, okay, well, they're all white actors. In my mind, I was just so used to seeing a certain type of person on television, and so when I wanted to create something, that's the type of person that I was going to include.
yeah, I get you.
But things are different. There's
Times are
more.
changing, and it's
Yeah,
good. I mean, we need
yeah,
that. And again, I didn't realize how much I needed it until I experienced, it on the emotional level. Like, when I saw that, I
yeah.
was like, why am I feeling like this? Holy shit. Like, Almega has feelings. Oh my God. All right. Yeah, either that or I'm just getting older and just becoming a damn softy, as
Yeah.
I get. No, but no, I'm only playing. At the end of the day, it's really just humanity. We want to see ourselves in a lot of things. And it's a beautiful thing what's
It's
going on.
important.
Just so long as it's done in the right way, in a positive way, that not
Hmm.
that you're trying to force things, but you do things naturally. I think that's important. So,
Yeah, yeah,
um, I know you're doing what you're doing here, right?
yeah.
With this awesome stuff. But are you gonna do any side stuff outside of this type of stuff right now, or is this gonna be your main focus? Get these 5 stories done, that you asked for, and then move on. I mean, what's the plan in the Romero verse?
The plan is just taking it one step at a time, and kind of. I like the analogy of you can only see so far as your headlights. Like if you're driving at night, you're going someplace, you know where you're going, but you can only see so far as far as your headlights. So even though I'm
I
thinking
changed mine
about
to LED so I could see further.
yeah, but even though you know where you're going, you can only see so far. But I'm still thinking about the future, so I'd like to finish these up, and possibly see if there's another author that has stories that I'd like to adapt. And then I would like
Do
to
you
return to
have
painting
anyone in
sometime.
mind?
I
Do you
don't.
have
I
anyone
don't.
in mind? Can you tease? No?
I don't.
Are you
I'm
teasing me, bro? You
no,
sure?
no. Yeah, yeah.
He's
Because
like, I swear.
because I have to read the stories, which, like I said, I have very little time, and then I have to find the stories that I like and contact that author and see if they're willing to work out an agreement of some sorts too. So
I want to ask this because I know,
yeah.
as a Latino,
Mhm.
this kind of stuff sometimes in our culture is seen as kid stuff. They don't see it as a serious art form. Um,
Right.
did you ever had to deal with that? And if so, how did you fight it, or did you not deal with it? And lucky boy.
I didn't really deal with it. I mean, when I was growing up, I had no problem telling people that I was into comics. It was just something I really enjoyed. And as I grew up making them, I would tell people, yeah, I make comics, and whether or not it was accepted, it's it's what I'm doing. It's what I love to do. So
Yeah,
it wasn't a kid stuff to me. It was just great stories and great art, together.
man,
It's
I
a
feel
great.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I tell people. Like, you're a talent. Like, like George Perez has cancer, right? And
Yeah.
not for nothing, it's in Puerto Rico, you know, just like most Latin countries, comic book art is seen as kid things, and then
Mhm.
traditional art is like, oh, that's art. Comic book art is kid things. So it's like, here we have the most amazing one of the most amazing Latino artists of all time in comic books. But what's happening? Why are we not celebrating him before he leaves us?
It's
This culture is fucked up. That's what it is.
we're creatures of habit, right? So we get used to doing something for so long that it takes so long for us to change our habits, and that's
Mm.
one of the things that going on with the diversities is getting pushed back. And I can understand why there's pushback, because there's a change, and every time there's something changes, people don't agree with it, and it takes time for it to become the norm,
Yeah.
become accepted. And if anybody says, look, comics is kid stuff, well, the first thing that comes to mind is, look at artists that influenced me in the past, Jeffrey or Catherine Jones,
Ooh. Oof.
Bernie
Oof.
Wrightson. I would put
Oof.
Bernie
Legends.
Wrightson's any of his Frankenstein plates next to artists from what 150 years ago, engravings. I mean,
Preach.
it's hard to
Preach.
deny that his skill level is not up to par with the older artists. So
Wrightson was a master at his
mm,
craft. Rest in peace, yo. Salute to the
yeah,
Wrightson family, yo, because Wrightson that's one of the few creators, that I did not get to meet in life, and I am so, as a horror fan, it just breaks my heart that I never got to meet, the man that drew, Swampy, Frankenstein, and so much other crazy,
yeah,
crazy artwork. I mean, again, but this is why, now we get into that moment, bro. Let me tell you, Oscar, thank you. Just, as a fan to a creator, just thank you for, putting your stuff out there, being brave enough to do that. Thank you for your service, bro. Thank you for everything you do, everything you've done, and everything you will do to keep us entertained and inspired and motivated. You know what I mean? And educated, because this stuff, I mean, this writer I was very unfamiliar with, but then I'm reading like, this is so HP Lovecraft. Like, all right, I'm hooked. I gotta find everything homie got now, thanks to Oscar, because I really love that you put me onto something that I was unfamiliar with. So thank you.
yeah.
You
I
taught me
appreciate
something new
that.
today.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I think that's what a lot of people are finding out. Is like, well, I didn't know about this author, and he's an obscure pulp writer, and he's best known for being a close confidant to H.P. Lovecraft. They hung out together in Rhode
Mm.
Island over there, and
Yeah, they were getting drunk at the bar somewhere.
They would spend a lot of times looking for the dark swamp, some like this swamp that was dark. I guess they had something bad in it, and they would look for it at night. They'd go out trying to find it.
Wait, this thing exists? So Oscar, do you want to, if you had a chance to say, okay, let's go after the mysterious dark swamp, would you go for it? Do a mission, do a whole, you know what, folks, I think we need to make this happen. Copyright right here. But for me, it's for Oscar. If he has me as a dead body and kind of the flashbacks, I'll be happy with that. We need to make a show on that, finding the dark swamp. Think about that. Think about that. Let's find the dark swamp. Let's get Travel Channel to hook up with us. Let's find the dark swamp.
Yeah. If they're looking for Bigfoot, why not the dark swamp?
Hey, why not? They're looking for Bigfoot. We got to find the swamp too. But Oscar, you've been amazing. I've been showing your stuff off all day long, but I didn't mention this yet. No, so before we go, just in the last couple of minutes, talk to me about Poor Man's Press, Poor Man's Art, and why Poor Man's.
All right. Well, let's see. First, it was Poor Man's Art, and I was looking for a site name, and that just popped in my head because I have never had like a real studio. I've moved around so much. I mean, hell, when I was in France, I was painting in our bathroom, and European bathrooms are tiny. You know, European, they're not like ours. Yeah, they're not like ours where we have jacuzzis here and, tubs. They have stand-up showers. They're usually pretty small,
So basically, it's a rumor. Get your business done and get out.
That's it, man. Just probably a little bigger than you would find on a sailboat, in all honesty.
Oh, damn. Stop lying. Really?
Yeah. They're pretty, yeah. But anyway, so I've always had to make do with what I have, as far as studio-wise. I have to, bust all my easels out, my paintings, and after I'm done, I have to put them away because, I'm painting in the living room one day, I'm painting in the bathroom next day, in the bedroom the next day. At one point, my studio was in a walk-in closet when I was living in.
Oh, God damn. I love this.
California.
Where's Oscar's studio? Wherever the hell I could work.
So that's one of the reasons of Poor Man's Art. It's like, just making do with doing the best I can with what I have,
I feel you, especially today.
But I think awesome. If you do that, if you're able to do a lot with the little, by the time you do get the resources, then you're more prepared to do more, hopefully. So
and are these the only sources we could find you on? Because again, we need people to know when the next books are coming out, and also, is this where you could find out about the latest and greatest as well?
Yeah, these are these are the only two. I mainly use Instagram, and I also do have a newsletter that I would encourage people to sign up for.
Do it. Awesome.
Yeah. So you can find that. You can sign up through any of those websites, poormanspress.com, poormansart.com.
So all they got to do there is sign up and they get updates.
Yeah. And I only send the newsletter when I have something new or something to say. I don't, bombard the emails, inboxes.
So we're not getting spam. We're getting real information.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I dig that. Oscar, you've been nothing but an amazing, amazing guest, bro. I dig the energy. I dig what you're doing. I'm digging your art style. I need you to make an art piece of Mega as a zombie. Like this, though, with the tombstones and all. I want to see that guy walking around like, ah. So,
you got it, man.
Yep. So you do commissions? Do you do commissions?
I don't normally do commissions, actually, just because I don't have time. But you know what? My friend I do cons with, he's like, you got to do commissions, because people make good money commissions, but I can't do the superhero
You're a fantastic artist.
Yeah, but I can't do the superhero stuff. Not because I don't like it, but I don't feel like I could do it justice like some other artists at conventions can. So
I don't want you to do a superhero. I want you to draw me. I'll send you a dumbass picture. So long as it looks like me facially, with my cap dress me up, as a uniform as the Comic Crusader. We're done. I'm good.
Send it, man.
Use your imagination, bro. Let's get it done. Let's talk. But with that, please, again, I'm going to repeat it one last time, folks. I need you to go visit Oscar's website, poormanspress.com, poormansart.com. Please visit the big homie, follow, sub on Instagram, Oscar Romero 1319 on Instagram. On Facebook, it is Rome ROOE. Hit it, follow, sub, support. Because this is what independent creators look like. You know what I mean? This is what they do. He got amazing books. He put me on to something new that I'm already digging as a fan of Lovecraft. So, just for that, bro, just want to thank you, bro, because you gave me something new to obsess over. My wife may not be so happy, but I'm happy. And with that, folks, you know what to do. Alto tells you everything. But please, my boy Johnny Hughes has been working overtime on Outside the Panel, so I need you to check him out. Undercovercaves.com. He's been smashing crazy interviews over the past week. I mean, ending with Carla Pacheco for Marvel. Hysterical interview. She is hilarious. Thank you, Carla, for that. Of course, check out the TDC that is coming out tomorrow, the Definitive Crusade, all about DC Comics. No Price Podcast next Tuesday. We got Awesome Source Radio tomorrow at 9 with an amazing voice actor. Please visit Awesome Source Radio so you can see who the hell we're talking about, because it's going to be a fun one. And with that, I'm Al Mega with the amazingly talented Oscar Romero. Comic Crusaders Podcast, and we out. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.